Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander Scores studio. Welcome to the show, and welcome to another episode of what I'm calling, at this point, Commander's Quarters Uncut. Basically, episodes where I just kind of turn on the camera and I talk about whatever topic's on my mind that day, or whatever topic's being discussed in the community, or what kind of our new news. So yeah, these are unscripted episodes where, you know, I have a basic kind of outline or things that I know I'm going to be talking about. But yeah, these words that I'm speaking right now were not written down. They are just coming to mind right now. So now I'm blabbing on as usual. But yeah, let me know in the comments below. It seems like many of you out there have been enjoying these kind of uncut episodes. So yeah, let me know, yeah, your thoughts on them. What can be improved? What do you like about them? What don't you like about them? And yeah, I guess I should also say before we keep going, this mustache keeps getting pointed out in the comments as well. Yes, I do have a mustache right now. This is not a permanent mustache. This is a competition mustache with some friends during Movember, and I clearly am winning, right? So yeah, comment on my awesome mustache in the comments below. Thank you. Anyways, today's topic is not about my mustache, but it is about something very important, and that is overall just oversaturation of products, but specifically a question that kind of spurred this thought again, essentially. And it's kind of, again, concerning when all these kinds of these specific things come up. And let's just jump into it first. I'm blabbing on right now. So Blogatog is Mark Rosewater's blog, better known as Morrow in the community. Mark Rosewater is the head designer, lead designer of Magic the Gathering. My apologies, Mark. I'm getting your title wrong, I'm sure. Basically, the head honcho when it comes to designers for Magic the Gathering. And Mark was asked this question on Blogatog. Modern Horizons opened up a ton of interesting design space. It also kind of broke Modern wide open and led to a lot of bans. Is there any plan to make an Eternal Horizons that skips Modern altogether and adds a bunch of power to Legacy and Vintage? And Mark responded with, is that something people would want? And, oh goodness. Okay, so again, I mentioned oversaturation. We've already, over the past couple of years, got an absurd amount of products to the point where I don't think anyone can really keep track. I don't think people at Wizards can keep track, essentially, of all the products that have come out this year. I mean, if you asked Mark Rosewater to literally list every single product that came out this year, I don't think Mark could do it. And not that Mark has a hand in every single thing, but again, people that do this for a living could not list out every single product that Wizards is putting out. Whereas, way back when, it was 3 expansions and a core set every year, essentially. Something much more palatable, much more manageable. I'm not saying we have to go back to exactly that, but going from, 4 products essentially in a year to, and I'll show a chart here in a bit, an absurd amount of products where it's just, it's something that just cannot be consumed by the average person. It's something that, and not every product's for everyone. I know that's basically Wizards' blanket statement for everything, but to the point where this is getting pretty ridiculous where, and I showed this in a couple of images the other day, but basically the amount of cards, I believe, back in 2015, and I picked that year because I think I got back into Magic that year. From that year, for the amount of new cards, not reprints from that year, was like 800 or so. And then, unfortunately, that increased all the way up to last year, 1,900 or so. So more than double. And in the past 2 years has been really ridiculous. I think we jumped from 1,200 to now 1,900 in the past 2 years, really. So it just really has skyrocketed. And this all kind of stems from what I believe. And we've talked about, Hasbro a couple days ago, actually, in an episode as well. But Hasbro, the company that owns Wizards of the Coast, is pushing, for more. We want more revenue. So, all of our other brands are failing, essentially. All of our toy brands are failing. Our board games are failing. We need Wizards of the Coast. We need, Magic to carry the load for us. So just keep doing more and more and more. Have people buy more. So literally, again, the amount of products, the amount of cards that have come out has just been absurd. To the point where it's just do you really need to put all that much out? Hasbro, I believe a couple years ago, and I can't remember the exact date that they said this, but their goal that they said their shareholders was in 5 years, they want to double the revenue of Magic, essentially. And it's a 25-year-old plus company at the time when they mentioned this. And okay, yeah, your company's been around for this long. We want you to double up your revenue in 5 years. And obviously, that is something that takes time to do. To do that in that short of a period of time, they're going to oversaturate the market. They are going to just, pump product after product after product and just put it all out, and just, yeah, it's something that is leading to a lot of I would say a blah feeling. Again, this is why it's an Uncut episode, because there's definitely a better word for than just a blah feeling. But it's hard for players to actually just keep track of everything that's going on, to stay interested in everything that's going on. I'd say disinterest might be the word instead of a blah feeling, but it's leading to a lot of, well, you can't just keep having a spoiler season after spoiler season after spoiler season after spoiler season and expect players to be excited every single time and for every new single product that comes out. I mean, with this Eternal Horizons, obviously there's other problems that lead to that too. And again, legacy and vintage players out there, I'm not a legacy or vintage player, so I'm not trying to speak for you, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. But from what I've heard, yeah, is they don't want this shakeup. They don't want Wizards just to print these overpowered cards that then might potentially destroy their thousands of dollar deck. Essentially like, oh yeah, cool. Because we printed these new cards, you either need to buy these new really expensive cards, or also, oh no, kind of like in Modern Horizons, when that came out, some cards got banned because of the push cards that they made for that format. Essentially, I mean, and please correct me, modern players, because I'm also not a modern player. Correct me in the comments below, but I believe kind of right after Modern Horizons came out, Bridge from Below got banned because of like Hogak. Hogak also got banned from Modern Horizons. So did Arkham's Astrolabe, and so did Faithless Looting. And Faithless Looting saw play in a lot of other decks outside of Hogak. Essentially, actually, I don't even know it was in that Hogak deck. But Modern Horizons pushed a lot of cards, which then made other cards that had already been in the format overpowered, or it made them bannable essentially, because Wizards had pushed so hard to get these cards to be playable, to get them to be interesting in the format. And obviously, the stakes might be even higher in your legacy or vintage, where those decks again are thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, in a single card that gets printed, and this legacy, Eternal Masters, whatever they're going to call it, could just ruin an entire deck. It could just shake up the entire format. I mean, again, the kind of initial concept for these Eternal formats was more so like not unchanging, I wouldn't say, but more reliable. Something that is more it's going to be you can hold on to your deck, kind of like in Commander, where hey, I want to be able to play with my old cards. That's kind of like, I believe, how Commander essentially got started. Essentially just like, hey, I've got all these old cards I'm not using, let's make them playable. And now it's kind of more so becoming, again with Wizards, oh, what new cards can we make? We're just gonna make new, buy these new things. And it's just becoming kind of problematic, I would say. Now, I believe I mentioned this chart. I don't know if I've shown up on the screen yet, because I haven't edited this yet. But so yeah, as you can see on the 30 years of Magic products, and I want to make sure I give credit where credit's due. I believe this showed up only on Tuesdays, that site. I could be wrong. My apologies if I'm miscrediting, but yeah, let me know in the comments below if you know. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, from 93 to like, mid 2000s, we had a reasonable amount of products every single year, like 4, or 5, 6 some years if it was really crazy, and some of those just like, little supplemental kind of like, extra things. And then all of a sudden, late 2000s, you just see like this slope just go, and it just gets out of control. I mean, especially again in the last couple of years. This chart, actually, I mean, if you really put all the secret layers out, and they show like, secret layer, plus a number next to it, if you put them all out, it'd be even more ridiculous just on how many things are coming out, how many ridiculous products are being made, and how it's just, again, impossible for players to keep up. It's impossible for many players to keep up. It's impossible for people who, follow this on a day-to-day basis like myself to keep up. It's impossible for people at Wizards, I'm sure, even to keep up with that. Again, if you asked Mark Rosewater to name every single product that came out this year, I highly doubt he could. So yeah, I think there's somewhat of a problem with that, where again, your company is, killing the golden goose, is what Hasbro is doing, is what Bank of America even said, and that's why their stock price is falling a ton. Because yeah, this is not a long-term strategy for this company. This is, hey, we want to get profits right now. We want revenues now. I don't care about the long-term aspect of this game that people have been playing for 30 years. The shareholders don't play it. They don't care. They are just saying, you know what? Milk it for all it's worth right now. That's what we want. We don't care. All of our other brands are struggling. Save us, Wizards, with your amazing product that people love. And we don't care what happens to it, in 5-10 years. So, and again, I've talked about this before, but like, nothing withstands the test of time. But it really seems like Hasbro is pushing Wizards to push out so many products that it is pushing Wizards, pushing Magic, closer and closer to the point where players are just going to lose interest. I mean, that's just, again, it's hard to stay interested when, you have product after product after product after product. It's just diluting kind of things a bit too much. I mean, Scryfall has a great, is an amazing resource. I absolutely love Scryfall, and I didn't realize they had this tab on there, but basically you can kind of just see what products have come out by year, essentially, as well. So let's just quickly go through it, and I'm just literally just going to list out products from this year that we have, and we'll see how quick I can do this. I mean, I'm not timing myself, but I do see a timer right now, but we'll see how quickly this happens. So here we go. Okay, I'm going to see if I can remember that. Here we go. So, end of December, we've got the starter commander decks. That's 12-2. Jumpstart 2022 is also on 12-2. And I'm also not going to mention like any kind of additional like tiny little things that also, additional, tokens or promos. Here we go. Okay. 30th anniversary edition. Lovely Wizards. Everyone's a big fan of that. 1128. Plus all those things. Eternal Weekend, whatever that is. 1126. The Brothers War Art Series. The Brothers War is just coming out on the 18th. And then also Game Night Free For All. I didn't even realize that came out, actually. Again, when you have so many products, sometimes that happens where people just don't know it came out. October 14th, Unfinity. October 7th. Also on October 7th, Warhammer 40K. Yeah, those got pushed back, and obviously that kind of just had made a glut of products all at once. Yeah, I mean, spoiler season for spoiler season. Alchemy, don't care about. Regional Championship qualifiers. 10-1. Dominator United. 9-9. Summer Vacation promos. Didn't even know those were a thing. 8-1. Historic Anthology. Explored. Whatever. Store Championships. Apparently that was a thing. All those were in July. Double Masters. Forgot that happened this year. July 7th or July 8th or whatever it is. Alchemy Horizons. Meh. Love your LGS. Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. That was back in June. Yeah. And then right before that, early June. That was early June. Streets of New Capenna. April 29th. So very end of April, very beginning of June. Yeah, we've had spoiler season after spoiler season, and then we had a little bit of a break, and then, yeah, we had a massive amount of spoiler seasons, like, August, September, October, just November. It's just been crazy. Game day promos, Challenger decks, Wizards Play Network. All those were March to April, essentially. Kamigawa and Dynasty. Yeah, that's how this year started off back in February. All the things that went along with that. Again, all these different art series or whatever. Commander Collection Black. That I forgot that happened this year too. That was in January. Judge gift cards. Innistrad double feature. That big flop of a product. Yeah, where Wizards was like, hey, we're just going to combine these. And then, oh, look at these new art treatments. But it's not really an art treatment. It's just, just put a black and white filter on top of it. Yeah, they've already gotten a lot of criticism for that. I mean, that was about 2 minutes of me talking about products. I mean, I did blab on a little bit about things, but I also, again, didn't talk about all the different little aspects. I mean, for Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, you've got promos, you've got tokens, you've got alchemy, apparently, you've got Destiny minigames. What in the world is that? Substitute cards. Commander, I forgot to even mention all of the Commander precons that we've been getting. An absurd amount. I mean, I remember back when it was, 4 or 5 a year, essentially. Right? And now it's just literally every single set. We get 2 to 5 commander decks. And it's just kind of taken away that special aspect to the actual product, where it kind of used to be like, like a birthday or like Christmas, essentially, or it just, hey, okay, yeah, commander decks are coming out. Oh, cool. I wonder what cool new commanders there's going to be, because this happens once a year. And now it's like, oh gosh, too much of a good thing is a bad thing at a certain point, because it just loses kind of that special aspect to it. So, I mean, even if they, want to do slightly more commander decks in a year, again, maybe like 10 or whatnot, but I'll put it on like one day, or at least split up and do like one half of the year, the other half of the year. That would, I think, still, keep a good amount of interest in it. But now it's just like, it's hard to keep track of, again, all the products. Again, oh, okay, was that in a commander deck? Was that not in a commander deck? What set was this in? There are so many things going on right now that, again, even for someone who does this on a day-to-day basis, it's really hard to keep up. For someone who works at Wizards, I'm sure it's really hard to keep up. For the average player, it's impossible to keep up. I mean, it's impossible to keep up for anyone, essentially, at this point. And it just, this whole thing kind of reminds me of a quote from a very good movie from, I can't remember what year this came out, but yeah, The Incredibles. And the main villain of it was Syndrome. And Syndrome's quote was, "Everyone can be super, and when everyone's super, no one will be." And that very much just seems kind of like what's happening these days, is that Wizards kind of is like, oh, this new cool thing, oh, this new cool thing, oh, this new cool thing, and expects players to, have attention for all of that. and just, continuous hype train. It's always happening. Get excited again, get pumped. This spoiler season just ended, and less than a week later, we're showing you previews for the next one, which is going to start in another week. And that is just something that I think is just unsustainable. And again, is it Wizards' fault? Maybe, maybe not. Is it, the fault of Hasbro, who is pushing them potentially to be like, hey, we need to double revenues to do that. You need to do an absurd amount of products. And then Wizards is like, hey, what other kinds of products can we make? And then, again, I'm not blaming the person who asked the question, because it's definitely been on their mind, I am sure. They're just wanting the feedback to say, oh, would Legacy and Vintage Horizons be something that we should make for you? And for many reasons, no, you should not. And I'm hoping that you do not. And I believe many in the community hope you do not as well. So we shall see. Again, this is something that it's just kind of like, it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm tripping on my words right now. It is a lot to keep track of. It is a lot when this, again, game that we love is just being oversaturated to the point where it's impossible to keep up. It is impossible. And I know the Wizards' response every single time is, every product is not for everyone, essentially. And that's true, sure. But that doesn't mean you need to make an absurd amount of products to the point where it's just, hey, we need to fill every single tiny little need of everything and just put out 80 products in a year just because they'll sell. Just because something sells doesn't mean it was the right decision. Just because, you made money off of it does not mean that that's the right thing to do or the right, long-term thing for your company, but more importantly, for your community. And that just seems like something that's gone by the wayside these days. Is Wizards says, well, it's sold, therefore it was the right decision. People clearly wanted it, therefore we did the right thing. And that's happened with a lot of things, including controversial things. Like, the Walking Dead Secret Lair, I remember that they mentioned like, oh, it was our most selling Secret Lair, at least at the time, therefore it was the right decision to make. Not necessarily. Again, you're losing confidence in your community. You're damaging your long-term viability, essentially. And again, this game, sure, you can say it's yours, right? Because you're the company that makes it. But the game really belongs to the community itself. And if the community doesn't support you, and they're not going to over a long period of time, if you keep doing this and you don't slow down and actually focus on what's right for the players, focus on what's right for the community to kind of foster, again, that environment where there is more trust in your company, which there used to be. And now there's basically zero trust in your company because players can see through, oh, okay, yeah, we need to put out this product. Oh, we really care about these players. So we're putting out this product and this product and this product and this product. And yeah, the 30th anniversary, I think, is just the main thing that really highlights the main issue, is that the feedback from the community is really falling on deaf ears at this time, where Wizards just has not slowed down at this point. And I really hope they do. I hope they, again, take a look at the ridiculous nature of, again, a chart like the one that I showed earlier, where, oh, look, this number of products. Oh, cool, our revenues are going up. Good for you. But revenue is not everything. And again, your community is much more important than that. And if you just keep going along this path, yeah, I know there's always alarm bells like, oh, Magic's going to go away. Oh, is this the end of Magic? Nothing just, goes away overnight. But, no, and I've said this before in another episode, but like, nothing withstands the test of time either. And at some point, it is going to fail. And it is going to fail quicker because you are, again, just pumping out all these products. You are making it so that nothing is special anymore. And again, so that no one can keep track of things anymore. Playing a game of Commander, yeah, there's going to be cards I don't recognize, but when you have 1,000, 2,000 new cards coming out every single year, it's going to be really hard for players to keep up, especially, new players. You talk about barriers to entry. You're adding more and more every single year just by making the card pool so large that, again, the amount that someone has to learn in order to jump in is just absurd. And I've kind of, blabbed on now a little bit too much, I'm sure, but I hope, again, I hope that what I've been saying has been useful to some out there, or that, it started some discussions. And yeah, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts on it. I'd love to hear from you. Legacy Vintage players, let me know your thoughts on, the Eternal Horizons or whatever they'd be calling it. Is this something you'd actually want for your format? As a Commander player, it's something that I don't want, but again, Magic's for everyone. But yeah, it's just interesting to see the direction that Magic is heading currently. And I'd love to hear all your thoughts on it. So yeah, let me know in the comments below Let me know what your thoughts are on Commander Scores Uncut. You know, what do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What could be improved? And then also, of course, let me know what your thoughts are on this awesome stash. So yeah, let me know. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.